I'm kicking off with a question you might not expect from a hi-fi news drop. What happens when a legendary British brand finally splits the CD party from the DAC and lets the transport do the talking? Today we're dive-bombing into Quad's Platina CDT, the new CD transport that sits at the very top of Quad's Platina lineup alongside the integrated amplifier and the Platina Stream Network player. And yes, this is the kind of product that makes audiophiles lean in and ask, do we still need physical discs in 2026? What makes this interesting is not just the hardware spec sheet. It's the philosophy shift here. Quad is clearly leaning into a pure transport role that offloads decoding to an external DAC or to an amplifier with a built-in DAC. Personally, I think that's a demolition of the old one-box CD player's mentality. Instead of combining the drive with a DAC in one box, Quad gives you a dedicated, clean signal path from disc to digital cue, then let your preferred DAC do the heavy lifting. What this really suggests is a trend you're going to see more of, separating the digital front end into modular, upgradable blocks so you can swap in a better DAC without replacing the whole player. Let's break down what the Platina CDT brings to the table, starting with build and design. Quad copies the look and feel of its Platina siblings, the steel chassis, anti-resonance feet, a thick aluminum front panel, and a 4.3-inch color display that mirrors the other Platina devices. It's not just about aesthetics, the design language here is about stability and minimalism. Keep vibration down, keep the signal path clean, and make the interface legible in a dim listening room. From my perspective, the front panel display is more than a pretty face, it's a constant reminder that this is a system component meant to live in a dedicated listening environment, not a casual entertainment hub. Inside, Quad uses a temperature-compensated crystal oscillator as the master clock for the servo and decoder section, with a dedicated isolated linear regulator to power it. The goal? Minimize jitter on the digital outputs. In practical terms, that means the data you send to your DAC should be as pristine as possible. I've long believed that clock accuracy in the transport can be a silent determinant of resolution and timing in the playback chain, even when you're feeding a high-quality DAC. If you take a step back and think about it, you're buying not just a disc spinner, but a battle-tested clocking strategy that keeps the audio signal on an even keel as it travels to your DAC. Another design choice that stands out is the power supply separation, motor and laser live on one supply, the decoder on another, and the microcontroller and display on a third. That kind of deliberate isolation is not typical in budget or mid-range CD transports. It's a sign of Quad's intent to squeeze out every last ounce of noise-free performance from a mechanical disc player. The Nortel toroidal transformer hints at serious power delivery without the hum you might fear from a toroidal unit in a compact enclosure. What this means in practice is more stable disc reading, fewer jitters during read cycles, and a quieter overall electrical environment for the digital data to emerge. Now, what about compatibility and everyday use? The Platina CDT is a traditional disc transport, so it outputs a digital signal via coaxial or toslink to an external DAC or an amplifier with a built-in DAC. The twist here is the Platina integrated amplifier already includes both coaxial and toslink inputs. So, Quad isn't just selling a transport, they're offering a logically matched partner for the rest of the Platina ecosystem. This is a subtle but important signal. Quad envisions a complete, modular stack where the transport, DAC, and amplification can be upgraded in stages without redoing the entire chain. Disc compatibility goes beyond your standard Redbook CD. It handles CDR and CDRW as well, which is great for those who burn and archive discs. And there's a USB-A port on the back that accepts USB storage with FLAC, WAV, WMA, AAC, MP3, and APE files, playing them at their native resolution. The press release doesn't spell out playback controls for these USB-stored files, which makes me curious about the user interface. Will it be a bare-bones navigator, or will Quad provide a full, ergonomic remote and onboard menu system? My guess? Given the rest of the Platina line's attention to detail, we'll get a thoughtful, if not feature-rich, control scheme that feels native to the product rather than tacked on. Price and positioning matter in this space. The CDT is priced at £1,499 in the UK and ships from April, available in black or silver. No USD price announced in the release I've seen, which makes international readers wait a beat longer. To me, that price point positions the Platina CDT as a premium transport option for serious enthusiasts who already own or plan to pair it with a Platina DAC-equipped system. It's not a budget afterthought, it's a deliberate, feature-forward choice for a modular, upgradable setup. What this really implies, though, is bigger, a growing belief that CD transport quality can still matter in an era dominated by streaming and downloadable high-res audio. If you're building a serious system, a cleanly isolated transport with a high-quality clock, separate power rails for the read and decode stages, and a coherent family of devices that communicate cleanly over common digital interfaces is a compelling path. You get less jitter, clearer data, and, in theory, more consistent performance from your external DAC across disk and file-based playback. One thing that immediately stands out is how Quad's approach mirrors modern AV and hi-fi architecture where modules excel on their own and integrate cleanly. The Platina CDT isn't a one-trick pony, it's a piece designed to be part of a larger, end-to-end system. And in my opinion, that emphasis on system integrity, where the transport isn't sacrificed for convenience but engineered to enhance the next block in the chain, is what makes this launch interesting for dedicated listeners. From a broader perspective, this hints at a trend, brands revisiting physical media in purposeful, upgradable ways rather than discarding them entirely. It's a recognition that there's still audible value in an impeccably read CD, especially when the rest of the chain is equally well engineered. If you care about dynamic range, jitter control, and a stationary, noise-free signal path, a transport like this becomes more than a nostalgia piece, it becomes a performance choice. So, where do you stand on this? Do you see a future where modular, transport-forward systems become the norm for audiophiles who still love physical media? Or is this a last hurrah before digital inputs at every price point dominate? Personally, I think it's less about keeping CDs alive and more about proving that a well-executed transport still has a legitimate place when paired with a smart DAC and a disciplined power design. What this really suggests is that the line between disk and file playback isn't blurring as much as it's being partitioned into specialized roles that complement each other. If you're curious, the Platina CDT ships in April for £1,499 in black or silver, designed to sit right next to a Platina integrated amplifier or Platina stream in a cohesive system. A detail I find fascinating is the quiet, almost surgical approach Quad takes to signal integrity here. No flashy gimmicks, just precise engineering. What makes this really interesting is that it invites a long, patient listening session. Cue a CD, step through a selection, then swap in a DSD or PCM file via USB and compare the sonic texture. In my opinion, that's where the real test lies. How seamlessly can the external DAC translate the pristine data from a high-quality transport into music that moves you? Closing thought, this isn't just about a new product, but about a philosophy of building audio systems that stand the test of time. The Platina CDT is a clear indicator that Quad believes in the power of a well-engineered, modular path to higher fidelity. If you're assembling a serious two-channel setup, this is a model worth considering, especially if you're already invested in the Platina ecosystem. What do you think? Is a dedicated CD transport like the Platina CDT still a compelling upgrade in 2026? Or are you all in on streaming and high-res files? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and tell me what you'd pair this with in your dream system. The discussion, as always, matters as much as the gear.